Troy Smooth. Welcome to my little YouTube channel. I think this is like my fourth or fifth episode. Still working on it. I kind of missed a month, but what I'm gonna do. I think one of the reasons I missed a month is because I don't really have a working computer from this decade. I'm using a 2015 desktop. That work, kids, family, yada yada yada. Cat. That's my cat Hazelnut. Just kind of get over her. She's around. Anyway, yeah. So I'm always like, I'm gonna record like after work. I'm gonna record like on the day off when I'm by myself, and then stuff always comes up. So now I'm recording at like 11 o'clock at night. I have off tomorrow. I'm on vacation, so I'm just gonna try to record more. And also just record weird hours where everybody else is asleep, and I kind of wouldn't mind going to sleep myself, but I'm here right now because I really like to do this. So I'm actually, it's another thing, I can't lock Hazelnut up, so like I said, just get used to her. She's here. She's fine. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about my trip to Nashville, Tennessee. I've never been to Tennessee before. I was going to say I've never been to Nashville either, but I'm sure you could have figured that out on your own. So it was, I have some friends from when I was younger, like when I was in grade school, we all went to the same school together and lived in the same neighborhood, and they always go on guys trips, just like, keep the friendship going, or, just because, as you get deeper into your adulthood, you don't get to do that stuff ever. It's easy to like just lose touch and like not do stuff to have fun. So they always invite me, and I'm always like, I can't go because either I'm working, I don't have the money, I have to watch my kids, or I'm in school, I'm unemployed, which counts for the money part. But now that stuff's not happening right now, everything's going well, and I told my friends, because I know how it is when you like tell somebody like, oh, just keep invite me, and then when you never go, they just stop inviting you because they don't want to get rejected. But I was always like, hey, listen, things are a little bit different now. I finished school. Like, if you do something, just let me know. And they were just like, oh, well, we're probably going to Nashville for John's birthday. And John was like one of my best friends when we were younger. So I haven't seen him since like 2018, but that's fine. But, we're always going to be really good friends. So it was for his birthday, and I was like, oh, well, an opportunity came up, and I was like, sure. And then they started a group chat, and I really don't like group chats, but whatever, I don't want to be rude. And then John messaged me off to the side, like, hey, Troy, I heard you're really going to Nashville. I'm like, oh, yeah. So I was like, oh, because Eddie said it, and I didn't know if he was serious or not. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going. He's like, oh, it's going to be awesome. So I don't think he even believed I was going. I talked to the wife. She was cool with it. I booked my trip. I tried to, think about the most efficient way to book a trip without being too inconvenient. So I was going to originally go from a Friday to a Sunday, but flights back on Sunday was super expensive. But then if you went back on Monday, it was a lot cheaper. So I was like, oh, let me just stay an extra day in Nashville. What's the harm in that? I'd rather pay more money. I'd rather spend that money on a hotel and stay on vacation than fly home and just spend a lot of money I saved. So I went from Friday to Monday. I went home like early Monday morning. I took like a 7 a.m. flight, so I was back home in New York. I was back home in Connecticut at like 2-ish. I drove down LaGuardia Airport. It's renovated, so it looks nice, but if you get to the non-renovated part, it looks like a dumpy hotel because they're still renovating it. So I got to see the nice parts, and my flight got delayed. I'm shocked because this happens all the time. My flight got delayed, so then I got put to the dumpy part of the airport where they're still renovating. And I went to this one restaurant where everything's on mobile order now. Like, you don't talk to anybody, you don't have a waiter, you don't talk to anybody, you just scan the app, put your thing in. So I ordered something from there at like 9 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, I was like, I don't think my food's coming. And I kept asking the waitress and staff, like, oh, is my food coming? I just want to check on it. And then finally I was like, I'd rather just leave and go somewhere else. So that was a big hassle. And, even to get somebody that knew how to do it, it was hard. Like, you have to send them an email to the company, tell them you want a refund, and then no refund. And it took them like a week. It wasn't that big of a deal. But, I did want to get my money back. I didn't really know for sure if they were going to refund me or not, but they did. So, whatever. And I went to another place and got a bagel with lox. That's how I like to do things. And that came like 15 minutes. So, flew to Nashville. It's like a 2-hour flight. Plus, since it's in the central time zone, it's really like I'm only losing an hour. I was watching somebody's YouTube a while ago where they said if you're taking an Uber or Lyft in the airport, always walk 5 blocks away so you can save some money. And I tried to do that, but this airport's in the middle of nowhere. It's like in the middle. It's like next to a highway. It's not like there's a residential area, so like walking 5 blocks wasn't really a thing. Like just getting out of the airport, like I'm walking for like 10-15 minutes, and it's Nashville too, so I'm just like for New York, like on a plane where it might be air conditioned, and suddenly I'm getting hot. So I'm just like walking. I'm like, let me just call an Uber. But then my friend, the guy birthday boy, he just landed like a little while ago. I saw him text the group chat, so maybe group chat's not so bad after all. I saw him text the group chat, and I'm like, oh, hey John, I'm here now. You want to meet up? He's like, sure. So I waited for him. We took the airport over. It's actually cool because, like I said, I've known him and his family since I've known him probably since first grade, but we actually started hanging out in 5th grade, me, him, and his brother Thomas, like a bunch of the kids in the neighborhood. Right now, once I interviewed his dad for this thing for school in 9th grade, we went to different schools by high school, and his dad gave me like his Vietnam patch, and he's like, oh, the kids don't care about this. I was like, oh, you sure I can have it? He's like, yeah, sure, they don't care. I'm like, whatever. So I kept it all this time, and like, I always wanted to give it back to him. His dad's no longer with us, so I always wanted to give it back to him, but then like, I didn't know exactly where it was. I had a vibe in my head where it was, and this is like, over 20 years I've had this thing, maybe 30. So I'm doing math like that. Yeah, I've actually had over 30 years, so I'm sorry it took that long. I'm slow. It's late, like I said. So I looked in my basement, and I spent like a good hour searching my basement before I took off my flight. I'm like, I gotta find this now. He needs to get this now for his birthday. So I found it finally. It was like a nice little patch, and I gave it to him. So I was really happy to get a chance to do that. And then we got to have a good time. So, first, I made my first faux pas of the whole trip. I got my room key, and I just kept trying. My key didn't work. And I was really frustrated because I had that long flight. I wanted to relax a little bit, maybe shower, freshen up. And my key doesn't work, so I'm like, So I go downstairs to get another key. I go back upstairs. My other key doesn't work. I'm like, And, I try to be logical, so I really want to go back downstairs and be like, hey, guys, you guys to come up with me? I'm like, you know what? Let me not embarrass myself. So I really thought about it. I'm like, why does this key not work? I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm scanning the wrong room door. So I went to my room door, got in, and away we went. So I did freshen up a little bit. Flights, whenever I like go on a long trip, driving especially, I like to, take a shower, freshen up, cologne, deodorant, new shirt. Flight, not so bad, but still I wanted to do that. So I got ready, and then we went out on Broadway. It was a lot. Just like music, bands everywhere, bars everywhere. It's just insane. I was just like, way too much like stimulation. But I went to a couple of bars, and another thing, every bar is named after somebody who owns it. So we went to Kid Rock's bar. That's easy. We went to this place called Luke's 32, which I later found out there's a musician called Luke Combs, I think. So that was his restaurant, his bar. We actually stayed there for a while. That one's pretty cool. There's also Jason Aldean's and some female musician. Like I said, so much alcohol. So that first Friday, I think I drank more that night than I drank like the whole year so far. And it's not that I drank a lot. It's just I don't really drink that much. So I had a good time. I was fine. It's just like, it's like, it's after that Friday, I kind of lost track of my friends. I'm like, I'm just going to go home. And I got some water, and I lied down. I woke up the next morning, and I felt fine. And then I was like, okay, that was fun. I had a lot of fun drinking, but I really don't want to do this a second night in a row. I didn't feel sick or anything, just like drinking 2 nights in a row. Like, I'm past that point. So then I was kind of like, oh, this trip might be a little bit much for me, because I didn't see anything. Because like the whole time before the trip, I was really looking for something to do. Like, I was looking up things to do, and I really couldn't find anything that sounded that interesting. I mean, there's a Country Music Hall of Fame, but if you did go to, so that was fine. So Saturday I woke up, went to Country Music Hall of Fame. Also, I met one of my classmates from Western Governors University. It's an online college, but like there's one friend, Ray, I've known from like probably like 2019 or so. So, and she lives in Nashville. Oh, sorry, cat jumped on me. She lives near Nashville, like an hour away. So we met up. I went to the Hall of Fame together. I don't really like country music, but it was kind of cool seeing all that stuff. Like I said, just deal with the cat. She's not going anywhere. So we did that, and then I went to some restaurant where I got a trash can. I think it was called a redneck taco. Their words, not mine. It almost felt like a pancake with like the taco filling. I had pulled pork. It was nice. But relaxed in my room, got some water, shaved. We went out to another bar, and this Saturday it was rough. And this is kind of where Nashville, like I kind of started losing interest in the place a little bit. Because that Saturday, it was like so crowded. Like the streets are closed off on Broadway. Like the cops like put barricades over the streets and they cover everything up. And it's just like a sea of humanity, which I think I have some pictures of. Hopefully I can show you guys. And I was just like, okay. And then it's like every bar I went to was crowded. You get used to the music after a while. Like, I know I'm not speaking super positively of the whole Nashville as a vacation. But I will say this, looking back, you do take the music for granted because those live crowds and like when you're at those bars and they're performing, these performers really putting their heart into it. So, I think definitely Nashville, keep that in mind. You're going to hear a lot of good music and you get used to it. So try to remember you hear some really good bands there. All cover songs, but it's still a lot of fun. But yeah, that Saturday it's just like everything's crowded, bars. And I'm like, well, I'm just going home. Then Sunday, John and Hatch, who I didn't mention, Hatch is a good story because when I first met him, I think it was like 2015, I thought he told me we knew each other as kids, like with John and Eddie. And I'm like, I kind of let it go a little bit, but I don't remember him at all. And then one day, we were drinking a little bit, so I'm like, hey, Hatch, man, I got to be honest. I know we hung out together as kids, but like, what neighborhood do you live in? Because I just don't remember like too much stuff that we did, but I really feel bad about that. He's like, oh no, we didn't know each other as high school kids. I didn't start hanging with these guys till after high school, so you definitely weren't around back then. I'm like, oh, I probably kept that to myself though, so I'm glad you mentioned. I'm like, oh, okay, good. So Hatch is a cool guy. I don't know him like that. I mean, I've known him for like a couple of years, but I have not known him since childhood. So I'm glad we got that figured out. So I don't have to like fake like I was gonna start making up fake memories of stuff we did together, just to be like, oh yeah, we have stuff to talk. We have stuff we used to do together. We hung out, but I only met him a couple of years ago. I did not meet him in high school, in grade school, so that's fine. Anyway, Hatch and John, they left. They went home. But then it's just like me and Eddie. And then Sunday was the day I was like, okay, I'm really getting ready to get home. I did miss my family. They FaceTime me a lot. But then like Sunday is a very much like all the tourists leave. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this, and everybody listening probably already knows this. I didn't know Nashville was like the bachelorette party like destination. Like I never knew this, knew nothing about this. There's so many bachelorette parties. It was insane. And my friend with John was like, it's kind of funny. These girls spend all this time preparing these outfits so they can look so unique, and they all have the same exact outfit on. It was fine, but it's a lot of pink. Cowgirl hats, cowboy boots. I don't know if this is like something that they own like full time or they just got it for the trip. Who knows? But it's a lot of bachelorette parties, but Sunday, all that stuff is gone. It's like the locals take the town back over. So I went to, me and Eddie, we just hung out. We walked by Nissan Stadium where there was a Beyonce concert the night before. So that's probably why it was also really crowded. And then we just like kept going in and out all day. We went to this one restaurant for lunch where they had line dancing. We didn't do it, but like they were teaching it. And there was like a lot of kids outside. So like Friday and Saturday, I did not see a single like child the whole time. And then like Sundays, like all these families are out on Broadway, because like I feel like maybe on the weekends, like they kind of just give the city to the tourists, and then because like if you're from someplace, do you really be hanging out with tourists? Like I'm from New York, do I really want to be hanging out in Times Square as a part of my day on like New Year's Eve? Probably not. So we went to that restaurant. I went up to my room, I relaxed a little bit, and I realized I left my debit card at that restaurant, which of course you never know. When you lose your credit card or debit card, you don't know where you left it. I mean, sometimes you do, but sometimes you're like, I don't know where I left it. So I called the restaurant, nobody's answering. So like I sprint over there because I'm in Nashville. I have my credit card just in case, but I just really want to be in a position where, I have to cancel my debit card and just not have it until I get back to Connecticut. I mean, so I ran over there, they had it, I checked my account online, nothing was taken out. So that was fine. And by the way, I was running in 90-degree heat, like 10 minutes each way. So that was kind of crazy. But then finally went to the pool and the hot tub. I hung out there for a little bit. I had ear surgery twice, so I'm not really supposed to get my ears wet in the inside. Kind of story of my life. So I just kind of hung out in the pool. I can't really do a lot, but it was cool. We just went out again, and by that point, me and Eddie were like, okay, we had a great trip. I'll see you next time. And then I really got a really good barbecue meal from Luke Bryant's. I had spare ribs, potato salad, and mac and cheese. And I was like, this is, like I said, I feel like Nashville, like once you start partying, you forget about all the other stuff a little bit. So I really enjoyed the Hall of Fame. I enjoyed the barbecue food I had, and I also enjoyed, the music. That was really cool. I went to bed and then got on that flight the next morning, drove home. Was super hungry after when I was home, and I didn't want to stop for anything, so I got McDonald's in my neighborhood. Staff was super rude to me. I'm like, it's good to be back in Connecticut. I think I ordered 10-piece chicken McNuggets, and I got like a Big Mac, and the lady handed it to me, and I'm like, excuse me, I ordered 10-piece chicken McNuggets. Like, but you paid for a Big Mac, so I can't just switch it. I'm like, but it was on the sign. I ordered that, and you paid for the Big Mac. Like, I can give you the chicken McNuggets. You got to pay extra. I'm like, that's fine, but you guys made the mistake, not me. But finally, just I don't know, they realized they were having an attitude with me, so they just gave me what I had actually ordered. And it was on the screen too, so whatever. Then I went back to work Tuesday, so that's my trip. I think it was very important for me to record tonight. Even Hazelnut's a big fan of my work. She just likes to stand by. It's important for me to record tonight because I've just been putting it off, and you're not going to build anything that way. I really do want to build this. I'm having fun. I also learned graphics, and I'll tell you more about that during my next video. I'll tell you about Laura's birthday card. Well, actually, I'll tell you all about Laura's birthday. It was a lot of work. I always like doing a nice birthday for her, so I look forward to telling you guys about that. Getting a swing of things about my career. I'll tell you about some of my past career, like my IT journey, because everybody has a story in IT, and I've been doing this in some form since I would say 2011, maybe 2019 if you count my first job. It has some IT elements, but a lot of it was just like technical supports. But I'll talk more about that later. But in some form, I've been dealing with technology like my whole life, professionally since 2010 at least. So we have a lot of good stuff to talk about. I can't wait to show you guys. Just want to let you know I'm still my name's Troy Smooth. I probably didn't mention at the beginning of the podcast, but that's fine. That's actually an issue I have in real life. I'll actually start talking to people. They'll tell me their name, and I'll just start talking, and I'll forget to introduce myself, but whatever. I am who I am. My name's Troy Smooth. I'm still on Instagram at TDaddySmooth. As mentioned, it's very hard to procure Troy Smooth as a username. Snapchat, I think I'm still TDaddySmooth as well. I'm really trying to do public snaps a lot. It can be kind of boring because I'm sitting at home a lot, or I'm sitting in front of my computer at work, so or whatever. It's a good time. I'm also going on vacation, so I'll probably do some posting then. And I think the good thing about going on trips is you get to make a YouTube video afterwards, so that's always a positive. Anyway, guys, I really want to thank you for listening. Hoping we can do this more. I'm going to say that every podcast, and I will not quit. So I will see you next time. Take care.